Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Explode Your Expert Business Show. Today we are here with the one and only Leon Streete. How you doing, Leon?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show,
Uh,
Simone. How you doing?
I'm really well, and I'm so happy to have you here on the show. I mean, we've been like getting around in circles for a few years, and
Mm-hmm.
then we met at the Maximize Award, where
Mm-hmm.
you actually gave me the award of Man of the Year. It was so weird.
Yeah, there was no fix.
It was like, okay, cool, thank you. And then we spoke together at
Mm-hmm.
a recent event. So I said, okay, it's long overdue. Come
Yeah.
on the show, teach us all about marketing, about getting leads,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people struggle with that. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to sharing with your audience.
that's brilliant. So before we get started with the meat, or
Mm-hmm.
if you are vegan with the lettuce, just for the vegan in the audience. Before we get started there, what's your background? What got you here to this point?
I mean, how long have you got, Simone?
Well, not all day. I
Yeah,
got
I
other
know, I
interviews
know.
to
Yeah, I know
do.
you're a busy guy as well. So, how long do you want me to spend? A few
Yeah, a
minutes?
few
Just
minutes. Few
okay, all
minutes.
right,
Go
cool.
for it.
So what got me here was just first of all a passion for a hobby that I had. Um, and if you can translate that to if you have a passion within you to serve people or help them in a specific way, that's where it came from for me.
Mm.
And my passion at that time was being a DJ, so
Right.
music.
Okay.
And being a DJ, up and coming DJ, in the tender age of 14, I really wanted to, get more people to hear how amazing I was at being a DJ.
Uh,
And by the time I got to 17, I was still DJing, and by then I
what kind of
was
music were you into? Just to drum.
drum and bass,
Uh,
and drill. Yeah.
no, did I tell you about my business partner?
No?
Ben is a drum and bass DJ.
Oh wow. Okay.
I
Cool.
need you to connect you with him. So weird. Okay.
Yeah, I stopped DJing in 2007 though. But anyway,
Uh,
so into that 1997 actually, I set up my first website, and it was to promote myself as a DJ because I wanted more people to hear about me. I wanted more people to see me. I uploaded my mixes on their MP3s, so way ahead of iTunes. I had my stuff online, and I
Yay.
learned how to do that in like literally 2 to 3 days. Um, I was already kind of selling mix CDs, and I had them in the local shop where the record shop was selling my CDs. So
Mhm.
I already had this passion that drove me to communicate with people. And what I realized is that my gift is being able to connect and communicate. So record labels put me on their mailing list, so I'd get records months in advance, so promotional records before
Mhm.
release date. Promoters would then ask me about my website, but also give me a booking. And more, I was getting out there in my city because I was on pirate radio, and then obviously people were knowing about me because of my website. But the website kind of led to these record labels and people saying, "Hey, if you did your website, can you do ours?"
Mhm.
And that's where I really got into marketing. In 2000, I set up my first internet radio. I was then, fast forward about 4 years, I did a website for the local government, for a higher education association. And then more and more people started saying to me, "Leon, how do we get more customers?"
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's what got me into it. And it was then kind of more of a burning desire to think, hey, yeah, how do we get more customers? Because naturally I was getting customers, but now it was more of a concerted effort. And
Yeah.
so that's the kind of fast track. There's obviously other things in between,
Of
but that's
course.
how I got to be, where I am as a lead generation coach and helping people grow their business.
And what you see that you do that makes you different from other people? Because I've seen that there are a lot of lead generation coaches and people that build funnels, and I
Mhm.
found that everyone there are some people that are not good at all, some people that are okay, some people that are really good, but everyone kind of uses a different methodology or have a preferred way to. So how about yourself? What's the thing that you
Yeah,
found working
that's a
for you?
great point that you've raised there, Simone. And like in any industry, there's some good people and there's some not so good people. I'm one of the good guys.
I know, I know. That's why
What
you're
what
on the
makes
show.
yeah, exactly. So what makes me different? I'll start with this. First of all, the results of my clients. So I'll give you two examples. Last year, I helped one client generate £900,000, so about $1.1 million on a £600 a month advertising budget. Another client I helped
No,
generate
no,
one point.
say it again. Say it again.
Yeah.
Like slow it down. Let it sink just for a
Okay,
moment.
okay. So I helped one client generate £900,000 in sales on a £600 a month advertising budget.
This is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
This is
So
absolutely insane.
and then I had one client who in 4 months he generated $1.2 million for his coaching program.
Hmm.
And then for myself, I've generated multiple six-figure months, and I do many things for clients. And so what makes me different is I help people to realize their vision in their marketing message,
Hmm.
because most people don't know how to translate that to actually
Hmm.
something that connects to the right audience where they actually want to do business with you. And that's it.
Yeah, it's I'm glad to hear that because a lot of time we are focusing on, okay, what is the latest funnel, what is the latest social media, what is the latest technology. But if you don't get your marketing message right, then you can have all these amazing tools, the funnels, the chatbots, the webinars, but people are not gonna convert. People are not
Correct.
gonna
Yeah,
buy.
absolutely, absolutely. So I
So,
agree.
so let's get into the juice now.
Mhm.
How do you do it? Let us know like some of your methodologies, and in particular, what I'm curious to hear is around the lead generation side.
Okay,
So,
cool. Um, Very good question, by the way. So how I do it, I'm going to allude to in a moment, is my book here, More Leads, More Clients. That's my
mhm,
methodology. I have a methodology called the MLMC method. And it's simply that it is what it says on the book, on the tin, more leads, more clients. And so where I start is the strategy. And so you're right, a lot of people will talk about funnels. We do funnels, we do chatbots, we do all that kind of stuff, but that's the vehicle. But the
mhm,
thing that that starts and comes before that is the message. And the message comes out of understanding what your strategy is, and your strategy is very simple, and you hear this all the time, but most people don't dig into the next layer, and I'll do that.
mhm,
So you will hear, find an audience who have a problem
mhm,
and then deliver the solution to them. That is it. Yeah.
mhm,
But the layer below that, where most people, they don't really dig into and really understand, is that what is the exact niche? And then the niche, I know you know this, Simone, but I'll
mhm,
share this with your audience. A niche is a particular segment of an audience. So, for instance, let's say you pick an age group like
yeah,
40 to 45. You're going to pick men or women or both. You're going to pick maybe location, city, region, wherever they're based. You're going to pick what is their personal income, what is their business revenue if you're doing B2B sales. And
mhm,
you're really going to dig in. But here's the next thing. So those are things called demographics.
yes,
But there is a next layer. The next layer is called psychographics. The psychographics, it's almost like psychology,
mhm,
are the reasons why they would buy from you. And most people don't dig into this part of their niche and understand, well, what are the reasons why they would buy? What do they fear? What are they passionate about? What do they
mm,
stand for? What keeps them up at night? Yeah.
yes,
And these are all the things that when you start to really focus, now you're actually focusing in on what a niche is, because in order for somebody to buy from you, it's an emotional transaction.
mhm,
But if your marketing message only ever focuses on the demographics and never goes into the psychographics, the emotions,
that is
you'll,
missing.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you'll never have the message to market match on any media. Yeah. Because the golden rule in marketing is to achieve your message to market match on the right media. So
Mhm,
for me, it starts with really understanding the audience. And then when you understand the audience and truly understand the pain, and the pain from an emotional point of view, you understand what's going on around that with regards to the symptoms to
mhm.
that. That's where you can really start to build a message that will connect you to your audience, and therefore build an offer that they will find irresistible.
I really like it. I really like it. And before we move on, I would love to spend a bit more time
Sure.
on the psychographic.
Yeah.
I would love to go there into details there because we never, I mean, a lot of time got a guest on the show talking about finding your niche,
Yeah.
finding the people you want to work with, but no one mentioned the word psychographic and we
Yeah. Yeah.
never explored. So something really cool that I want to get to know more
Mhm.
personally, and I'm sure that the audience
Yeah.
is going to be really interested. So you,
Absolutely.
if you have to break down the different elements of
Mhm.
the psychographic,
Yeah.
what are those elements? You mentioned some of them before. Let's get a
Yeah.
bit deeper there.
So I'll go into some of them. So the biggest thing that you're understanding about the psychographic within this niche is to understand what is their resident dominant emotion that they're going through. Yeah. So that's one thing. And then the next thing is, what is their resident dominant emotion at the point of buying? Yeah. So what you've got to understand is that your audience are going to be in these different levels of temperature. They're going to be cold, warm, and hot. Yeah. Usually before a person really knows about you, when you're putting your advertising out there, they're cold. They don't really know you. Half the time they don't even know they have a problem. They're in this land of, as an example, if we were going after coaches, they're going for their next certification. They think that they need to be qualified like to university standard in order to get better to attract clients. It makes no sense, because actually what they need to get better at is marketing.
So if I get the next qualification,
that's going to happen. I'm going to go for the next NLP, then it's going to happen. So what you got to understand is, when a person is cold, you need to be able to move them to warm. And as a person moves to this warm stage, maybe they come across your content and so on, they're now experiencing different emotions around what it is they believe they need next. So let's take a step back.
Yes.
So hot is obviously the point when they're ready to buy, but I'm going to take a step back. So if we go into the psychographics, where you're really focusing, what is my niche? Because it's not about discovering the niche. Most of the time we know our niche because we look in the mirror and that's the niche. We've been through that journey, and therefore we understand how we're going to help somebody. So things that you can start to really, dig into about your niche in the psychographic world is, what do they fear? What are the symptoms to that fear? So, i.e., what's going on in their life? For instance, if you had the flu, a symptom would be a cough, fever, aches, pains. But what are the symptoms to their problem with what you're going to help them solve? This is where you're really digging into, knowing what they're going through. So then you might understand kind of the logical, physical ailments, but what are the emotional feelings they're experiencing? Yeah. Then you're going to dig into what makes them angry around this. So, for instance, in our game, in marketing, a lot of people get angry because of, people selling stuff that, is kind of, it's nothing. It's confetti. There's no value to it. People are just selling these high ticket things, and they don't give value behind what they, are supposedly representing. So what keeps them up at night? So truly get into, what is it that they fear? Is it, for instance, and these are big things now, you're going to get into, are they fearful of what people will think about them, i.e. their wife, their husband, their children, their family, their neighbor, their community, or the business peers, maybe colleagues. Yeah. Now you're digging into, like, what are their fears? Why are they up at night? Is it bills? Is it money? Is it the car they got on the drive they can't afford to pay, but they bought it to look good in front of everybody else? Is it the home they're in? Yeah. And so when you start to understand the reasons why people are up late at night and the emotional pains they're going through in relation to the thing you're going to help them solve, this is where you can create different angles in your marketing message. And this is where people go, wrong, because they never go deep enough.
And so because they are just on a surface level, then they sound like everyone else.
People think a niche is going into Facebook ads, doing the filtering options on the ads. Oh, I found a niche.
No, that's not
like... it's all logical stuff. It's not the emotion.
So let's look at different ways in which we can fine-tune our psychographic profile. And I want to divide, because in a lot of our listeners, we have two kind of listeners. So we have the listeners who are starting out, and we have the listeners who has been in business for years, and so they already have a lot of clients, and they are looking to take it to the next level. Good. So if someone is starting out, I remember when I started out, I was like, oh, this niche stuff sounds very complicated. I don't know. So if someone is starting out, where is a good starting point for them to create this niche with a psychographic profile?
Yeah, I think the best place is just like I explained, because there's no need to overcomplicate this. Start with, what are the demographics? So what are the logical, attributes that you believe your target audience have? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through a few of them. So for instance, You're going to dig into location, gender, age, language, ethnicity, behavior, education, income. What are their job titles? Yeah, job titles are good because you can use that in your targeting on Google and on Facebook. What industry? What is their relationship status? Are they normally married, single, with a partner? What is their homeowner status? How do they travel? What car do they drive? Is it kind of BMW, Mercedes, Ford, Vauxhall? You know, like really dig into what are the demographics. Psychographics are, and this is another way to flip it around. Let's say you're thinking about who's your ideal client. What is it that you really love about them? What are the values? What are the emotions? Yeah. And you're digging. So where are they in their lives right now? Like what's going on? Do they have kids? Do they have, you know, different pressures? Do they have different hobbies, things that excite them? You know, and really now you're getting into these emotions of the psychographic. Yeah. What do they truly want? Not just kind of, oh, they want a coaching program or they want this consulting service. Like, what do they want? Where does your solution help them to get to in their life journey? Yeah. As I said, what makes them angry? Fear. What are their passions? I already said what keeps them up at night, and what are their perceived limitations? What do they believe they can't do? So as an example, there's a lot of people who they believe they can't do, let's say, a coaching program, or they can't do this in their business until they have money. Yeah. So what they actually do is close themselves off into being creative around, actually, I don't need money. I could partner with somebody and therefore we could work together. They use my resources. I use their clients. We make money together. So it's understanding like what limits does your target audience niche have on themselves and really getting into this. And so those are a few. And what I want to say here, Simone, is it's not really avoiding these points that I've raised, because if you go deep enough on these points, you will have a niche that is probably 99% stronger than your nearest competitor, guaranteed. Yeah. Because I even work with some companies who they're doing 7 figures. They've never even gone this deep, just because the industry and market at the time, there was a big enough demand for what they were selling.
And then the market became too saturated, and then the business started going down.
Yeah.
It makes absolute sense. Yeah. So before we move on, last question on the niching.
Yeah.
Do you have, what's the best way or that you suggest for people to find out those information? It's just like, I think it's gonna be this, or do you have a better methodology?
So actually, the first way is to kind of go with what you believe about the marketplace. Yeah, yes. Because you're gonna be about 75% accurate in most cases, sometimes more. You can do surveys. If you're going to do a survey, don't just say, hey, can you fill in my survey, put it out on social media. Give them something free, like, hey, when you fill my survey and you get a free training video on the very topic you're an expert of. Yeah. So if you're a business coach, life coach, maybe you have a 10, 20-minute explainer video on a particular thing that you help people with. Or give them a kind of PDF checklist, a PDF guide, an ebook, something to entice them into actually filling in your survey. You can boost that on Facebook for like £20. That's, you know, it's very easy to do. You can also put posts out in Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, ask questions. Sometimes you don't have to give people a full survey. You can drip one question in as, hey, guys, can you tell me what you think of, you know, is your number one marketing challenge? And people will just respond. That's your survey answer right there.
I found it in particular, this one I do it quite often, and recently, because I teach a lot of speakers how to sell from the stage and create events. So I put a post out saying, what's the thing that frustrates you, that annoys you the most about business events? Because I know that very specific. I know that my audience goes to a lot of business related events. So I was like, okay, what is the thing that upsets you the most? Because I wanted to update the copy of my page on my landing page of my event, basically addressing all the things that frustrates people the most about events. I'm going to address it, and they're not going to be present in my event. And it also gives me an idea of where the market is going, where people are at. Agreed. So that's very powerful. So I just want to make this point.
It's funny actually, because I did something recently. I did the same about what do people find the most annoying about webinars. I had about 30 to 40 people respond to different posts on Facebook, LinkedIn. And it's the same thing. So have a guess what I can implement on my next webinar. Have a guess what I can teach my clients about what people actually want to see on their next webinar. So I agree. You know, it's a great way to get feedback. And like I said, a lot of these things don't take money. They take energy and creativity.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so now we have a methodology. We know how to
Yeah,
find
a niche.
the niche, which is the first
Yeah.
step. Then what's happening next once you
Okay,
identify
so
that?
yeah, so once you've identified your niche, you need to be able to attract them. Yeah. And so there's two things that you need with this. So if you're going to attract people in, you're going to attract them by a message, or you're going to attract them by an offer that you've created. So what I like to do is get people clear on what their offer is, because most people, if they're startup or even if they're established, are like, I need to make sure I understand what I'm going to sell. So what I do is I take a client through this simple process. You get a piece of paper and you write at the top point A, and at the bottom you write point B. And in between you put the steps of what it will take to move a person from point A to point B with your service, with what you're going to help them do. So you're going to end up with 5 to 10 steps. Those 5 to 10 steps are what will become your product or coaching program or consulting service. And so now you know your kind of process, and that is unique to you as an individual. And so from there, what you do is take each step and then you put next to it, what is the symptom that you identified when you were looking at your niche that each of those steps relate to? This is very important, because now you understand how those symptoms relate to the solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the next step is, so you have a column for the step, what you've named the step, then you have the symptom, and the final column on this piece of paper is the benefit. So what is the benefit that step is going to give the person with the symptom you've identified? Now you've come up with a list of 10 different benefits. Yeah. And in my trainings, I give a simple way to create your own USP. A USP is your program or your product plus your number one benefit. So it's a simple way to create a USP. So now you have a USP, you have all the related benefits of what your service or product is about. And then what you can do is take all the symptoms and create different content, videos, posts. Yeah. And that is the next step, really, because now you understand what the product is. It's not created. You've just come up with, obviously, the outline for the product. But now you have messages that can go out to the market and attract people in. And this is an important step.
It is. So let me just recap it, because there are some people in the audience that are listening right now that are going to be like, yep, absolutely get it. Makes sense. Great.
Yeah.
And other people that are like, yo, Leon, slow down here. What I liked about this process is that, first of all, you create your signature methodology, you create your USP, and you have different steps, which are the steps that you are taking your clients to give them the results that they want.
Exactly.
Ultimately. And then you will have the benefits associated to each step. So if we have to give an example, maybe you are a confidence coach. And the first module maybe is self-awareness, to get them to find who they are.
Exactly.
Then you associate a benefit. So what is the benefit for the client if they found who they are? Well, they are clear about their direction, they're wasting less time. They know what they value, they know where they're going to spend their time and where they're not going to spend their time anymore. They know what makes them happy.
Absolutely.
But then what I loved about this is taking to an all new level with also adding the symptoms, because a lot of people will put the module and the benefit.
Yeah.
But the symptoms, which is then what causes them to have the need of clarity, is already giving you the content to put out on social media.
Exactly.
So when you're like, oh, what shall I talk about, or what shall I write about? Then you take your grid, you look at the symptoms, and then you address the symptoms, because then you have a benefit for the symptom. And the solution is your program. So that's what I really love about it. And genius. Absolute genius. Love it. All right.
Simplicity.
Simplicity at its purest form. But, it's complex to make this simple.
Of course. That's why I wrote a book on it.
That's why people pay us a lot of money for making things simple for them. That's why we are in business. All right, cool. All right, so let's move on. You're now creating your methodology, and then you have your content, and you're talking about it, And then what happens next?
Okay, so now you have your content. So that means you can put posts out, you can create videos. Now you can create ads. So if you have a marketing budget and you actually want to, test the market and really go after, getting more clients, more leads and so on, you can really put some stuff out there into the marketplace and test. So the biggest thing for for you as part of what you would have identified with your niche, this comes back into the kind of demographic part is where do your target audience hang out? So are they on Facebook? Are they in Facebook groups? Yeah. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they in LinkedIn groups? Are they searching on Google? Yeah. Are they on YouTube? Are they on Instagram? Yeah. You must identify where they hang out. And then what I recommend you do is you go to that channel and that's where you start to publish this content. Yeah. And you have to be consistent. For instance, you can't publish one video and come back in a month's time and say, hey, my marketing campaign failed. Yeah. Or you can't publish your video and at 12 o'clock come back at 5 p.m. and say, hey, my campaign failed. Yeah. Nobody reached out to me. Nobody liked it. Nobody commented. And here's another thing, guys. I have a lot of clients who never liked, shared, commented my stuff, but they saw it.
Yep.
Yeah. So don't worry about those numbers. And this is something I speak to my clients about. The numbers you must care about are how many leads do I have, how many prospects do I have, and how many clients, because that will result in money in your bank. Everything else is BS. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Trust me.
Find a lot of people with hundreds of thousands, millions of followers not making a penny.
Exactly. So if you don't have them numbers, what I mentioned, everything else is just you feeding your ego and other people feeding theirs. Because look, that's not going to feed your family. Trust me, I've been there. So now you're in this place where you kind of have a good idea where your audience is. You might even test a few channels like LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and just see where you are getting responses, i.e. where people are clicking on, let's say, a link in your description on your video on YouTube, a link, maybe you've put in an ad on Facebook, wherever, and you're seeing that a person is clicking and they're going into something called a conversion mechanism or a lead magnet. Yeah. Because what you want to do is be able to replicate yourself. And so the biggest things and the easiest thing that I give my clients is create like a 3 to 5 page guide, like a checklist, something very easy. You create it in Word or Google Docs, export it as PDF, and then you create an opt-in page, like on ClickFunnels, very easy to do, or one of those other tools. And now you've got a place where somebody can go to after watching or reading your content, give you their name and email, and now they get some value in return, but now you have a lead.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, that's the biggest thing. It's taking your content, testing the channels, and finding out where you get leads from. Yeah. So that's the next part in the process.
That's brilliant. So I think this interview is going to require a part 2.
Yeah, probably.
Then taking a
We haven't
lead.
even got
Yeah,
to get
exactly. To go
clients.
from lead to conversion. So
Yeah.
I'll leave you guys with a cliffhanger here. There is going to be a part 2 where we are now understanding how do we get the lead to then converting it. But
Absolutely.
a lot of people, they just reason why I wanted to focus on lead generation in this interview. So there are so many people that talk about conversion, and you cannot convert something you don't have, right? So there are people that build this super complex funnels, takes months to build, and then they have no traffic and no one then goes through that.
And here's the thing, people hire people to build funnels and web designers, and they've never even once had any focus on what is the niche, what is their emotional needs. So they build this funnel based on what they've copied from some other niche, some other target audience with no context. Yeah, with no context of what your niche need. And honestly, I have clients who do multi-million, and they come to me spending tens of thousands of dollars, and I'll tell you straight up, they waste money with because they see this latest fad. Even people who are successful, established business owners. And so the key thing for me, guys, is if you do focus on your niche first, you'll always have the right foundation to build your campaigns from.
Absolutely, and you're not gonna waste time. You're not gonna waste money in things that then are not working for you.
Exactly.
So understand your niche, understand how people buy, and then build your marketing funnel around their behavior rather than what you think is the latest trend.
Exactly.
I think that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah.
So now we talked about niching, lead generation, getting out there. Let's go into the last part of the interview, which
Sure.
is the lifting the veil round, where I ask every guest to share an app, a tool, maybe a book, something that you bought recently that makes your life or business easier. What's your
Okay.
one?
That's a great question, Simone. And I'm not going to share an app and I'm not going to share a tool. I'm just going to share a concept, an idea. And it's
Mm,
simply this. Depending on where you are in life, whether you're a startup, whether you're in your 20s, even late teens, or 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, the biggest thing for me that will make a difference in your life is to commit to your life. Now, every week we have 168 hours given to us, every one of us. Yeah. The people who I see as success, the people who I work with that are successful, as well as myself, focus on what goes into their 168 hours. Yeah.
mhm,
And I often come across people who say, I don't have time, or I can't get this thing done. For me, the biggest thing you can do right now is focus on what are your priorities and put your priorities into your calendar. Even if it's the things you don't enjoy or don't like, put them in until you can hire the person to actually do them for you. Yeah.
mhm.
And so the biggest thing for me is to commit to your 168 hours every week. I actually give away a free schedule. Yeah, so it's literally just a one-page PDF. I give it away free, not because it's like going to help me to sell more marketing, but what it's going to do is help the people who come across my content to become more effective in their life,
Mhm.
and that's important for me.
So we can put the link here in the
Yeah, yeah,
description
I can
for
give you the
that.
link.
If you
Yeah,
can
for
give me the
sure.
link so can people
Yeah.
can download the calendar. I'm a
Mhm.
big fan of planners, big fan of calendars.
Yeah, I've got yours
They
actually. Thanks to get. I've got your planner over there on the desk.
thanks, man. So they work. They absolutely work. And
Yeah.
when you're an entrepreneur, I agree with you. There are a lot of things. There are so many moving pieces of the puzzle,
Hmm.
and the bigger the business grows, the tougher it gets. It's
Yeah,
not that
yeah,
people think, "Oh, I want a big business, so life will become easier." Yeah, good luck with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, focus on you first.
Exactly. And being in control of your time. What are
Mm,
you going to do? When are you going to do
absolutely.
it? And committing 100% to yourself, to your vision. That gives you the edge.
Yeah,
That gives you
agreed.
what many people are missing. So thank you for sharing, Leon.
You're welcome.
Right. So if people want to get in touch with you, how can
Hmm.
people get in touch with you, download your stuff, get
Sure,
in your
sure.
word?
Okay, so you can get in touch with me very simply. My name is Leon Street, and on the end of Street, there's a silent E. So you can find me. I'm the only one that exists in the world. Nobody else is named Leon Street. So you can find
Lucky
me on,
you, super Googleable.
yeah, yeah,
Lucky you.
exactly. Yeah. So Facebook, LinkedIn, that's where I'm most. You can get me on Instagram as well. And if you want to get some of my free stuff, you can go to leonstreet.com. You'll find books on there, which obviously I've got this book here. Amazon #1 international bestseller, more leads, more clients. It's got
Great book.
everything that I I class as what you need as a cultural consultant to actually make your business work and go to six figures and beyond for sure. It's about implementation. And so when I wrote the book, it was about actually, putting my money where my mouth was.
Hmm.
And so that's what you can, get from me. And you can find all the other resources that I have online as well.
Fantastic. So there are going to be the links here in the show notes. Make sure that you connect with Leon. In this industry, it's really difficult to understand who is the real deal, always full of bullshits.
Yeah.
And the interaction that I had with Leon is really a genuine person. Like I love the dinner that we had after the
Mhm.
event. Got to know each other better. And
Yeah.
guys, make sure you connect with him. Is a guy that gives and knows his stuff. So even the content that you're going to find from him, I always find it really useful. So get in
Thank
touch
you.
with Leon right now. Leon, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure
Mhm.
having you here.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you very much for your time, Simone. Bella, bella.
We're gonna turn everyone Italian or say something
Yeah.
Italian on this show now. Well, guys, thank you very much for listening or watching. Make sure you subscribe to the show if you haven't subscribed yet, and share it. Share it with the word. Share it with your cat, with your dog, with your goldfish, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend, with everyone that needs to hear this message. And also, we really appreciate your reviews. So leave us a review on iTunes. Let us know what you like, and also what other things would you like to hear from the show.
I have one thing, Simone. For everybody who leaves a review, I'd love for you to print screen your review, send it through to Simone, and I'll give you some extra special free marketing training. So if you do leave a review, and a really great review, yeah, I'll make sure I send some training out that Simone can pass on to you.
Cool. So right now you know what to do. Subscribe and leave a review straight away. Send me the screenshot. I'll pass it on to Leon. Then you can get your extra resources. Yeah. Now it's time to go. Thank you very much, Leon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Remember that together we grow exponentially. Ciao.